So here we are at Hawkshaven with our goji berry bushes, and so we got a couple of them. We got like 5 of them from a lady we met on Craigslist, and she had a bunch of rabbit poop that she wanted to get rid of, and well, I wanted a bunch of rabbit poop to put on my gardens. So these are the goji berries. They're little. And I didn't think they were going to actually produce this year because I just planted them kind of early summer. Hey, you don't need to be up here. you don't need to be up here, huh? Like this? You really think you need that? Alright. Anyway, they taste really good. When I tried some earlier this fall, they were a little bitter. But yeah, so they taste pretty good. So what I'm going to be doing is I think I'm going to trim these back a little bit, and then let them focus on their root growth this winter, and then they spread by the roots. And so I've been watering along this bed the way I would kind of like them to grow, and and if they start going elsewhere, that's fine. It's I'll just move the rocks. That's where the bed will become. So, but yeah, we've got these goji berries here, and then I've got some. There's a blueberry here, and another blueberry right here, and then down here in the field, I'd like to do a big patch of raspberries, and one of my neighbors has some raspberries they would like to thin out, so I'm going to be placing those raspberries beyond these trenches. So I started digging these little trenches by hand, and then I had some extra time with the backhoe or the excavator last time I rented one, and so I dug these trenches. And so what I'll do is I'll be running our drip tube along these berms here, and it'll just be on like the pretty much right along the top side of it. And then what I'll do is I will be placing all the raspberry starts right on the bottom side of the drip tube. So that's really going to build a big lush wall of raspberries, which I really like to eat. And any water that is in excess that the drip system is using, or anything that falls on the land here, gets caught in these trenches, and so then it just soaks into the ground. And we just run drip tubing to whatever trees and stuff that we're trying to get established. And it looks like there's a hawk down there. Doing some hunting. Anyway, yeah, so, ooh, these ditches here, they go all the way around to the hillsides where the water could drop down, from snow melt off, and just help hold it to the land. You got to capture the water and let it soak in. The beavers, they've tried to show us that that's something we should be doing, but back in the 1800s, we thought that they would look best as hats. So this is another little pool that I've dug out, and going to be building into a place that animals can come get water, and probably have some fish and stuff swimming in here, and some flowers and stuff growing. Plus it's another zone to help catch surges of water. So these trenches I dug, I think 2 years ago. And it's just, little guys, even just a little trench, 1 shovel width wide, and even 6 or 8 inches deep, really works to help hold water to the land. Because anything that's flowing across the land is going to go into there, and it's going to start soaking in. And this is one of the great things that we could be doing all over the forest. You just take a shovel with you and just start digging these little trenches all over the hillsides. These little trenches, when there's a lot of them, will create a very hydrated forest floor. Anyway, this is Hawkshaven. We have a lot of projects going on here, showing sustainability. This is going to be another little pond. It's going to capture any water from this area. It'll allow it to come in here. We do have a liner for this one. This is one of them that we plan on maintaining, year round, even if we have to add a little bit of water to it. And we're using all the natural resources that we pull out of the ground is retaining walls and just walls that define little borders and boundaries and campsites. Once I get that little tree right there transplanted, I'm going to move that pile of rocks, and this is going to become a camping spot. So it'll have to be somebody with a 4-wheel drive camper or something, because it's a little bit of a heavy entrance. But really a cool camping spot right next to a little pond. And I'm going to run you down here so that way you won't have to put up with that for long. Okay, so we got a donated swimming pool liner and hole, and so we're going to be putting that swimming pool liner in the hole once I get the rocks pulled out, and I'm going to throw some carpeting remnants and pad down, and that'll help the liner last a lot longer. And a lot more rocks I've hand thrown. Like, I swear I've hand thrown over 1 million rocks. But it's kind of fun, I mean, you get to create something where nothing was existing, and you can do it kind of artistically. We can come and look at the goats. These are Alpine and Angora. Jake is a full-bred Angora goat. And Mama Princess here, she's a full-blood Alpine. And she's a great milk producer and a baby producer. We've got a herd of 11 right now. They help us with hugelkultur. And let's see here, I'm going to take you on a little tour of this real quick. So we've got people that bring their branches to me, and I take the branches and I dig into the field. Big trenches. So these trenches started out about 4 feet deep and 3 feet wide, and they get filled up with wood and poop and leaves and grass. And when I throw sticks in here, the goats, they come over and they poop on it and they stomp it down for me. And so, like, these trenches have got hundreds of truckloads of branches in them. And grasses, everything, you know. And we have, it's all about diversity, just like everything in our experience thrives on diversity. And hugelkultur is no exception to this. So every time you walk by something, if you see it, you might as well just do something with it, right? Because if you step over a rock 1,000 times, realizing you could have moved it once. So here's the chickens. Oh, I hear them already. Oh, and our really high-tech lock here, right? And door closure system. You know, gravity, it always works. Well, hello, ladies. Hi, how are you? Hi. What's going on, huh? What's going on? Huh? Come here. Hi, I know. So, we get a lot of coffee grounds. That's what a lot of this material is right now. I haven't raked it around, or the chickens haven't had any compost thrown over it to where they really start scraping it around for me. And anything that dies comes in here. And you can see, so what we're doing here is we're making dirt into soil. And all of this area used to be really, really hard compacted, just in really not very fertile dirt. And so, but now you can see, watch this. You can see, well, I don't know how well you can see. When you step on the ground now, it actually gives. You know, there's a good indication of that. And so this is how, this is like hugelkultur at a small scale, is I dig holes and little trenches, and in the holes I place my compost. And when we put the compost in the holes, it allows a soak zone. You know, so any water that's coming onto the ground is going to soak into those holes. And as it absorbs into the decaying organic matter, it holds it like a sponge. And so it keeps the ground hydrated. And it helps to stabilize temperatures, you know. In the summertime, it's going to help stabilize and make a cooler temperature. And in the winter, it's going to make it to where it's not quite as cold. And the cat, what are you doing? Huh? Yeah, you're always out looking around, huh? So anyway, we get the chickens down here. They have, I don't know how this video is going to turn out. It's kind of dark and light. Anyway, they've got things to make noise. They've got perches to sit on. They've got dirt to scratch through. They've got little trees to give them shade. And this big old bucket of morsels that they really, this area keeps scraped up pretty well, because that bucket contains decomposing flesh. I know. I know. She said, what? Yeah, so when we find dead things along the side of the road, or something here on the farm dies, it goes into the bucket. And then when the flies come and lay their eggs on it, and the fly larvae start to grow, well, for them to become a real full-fledged fly, they need to do it in the dirt. So they look for a route to the dirt. And so when they fall out of the bucket, that's about 4 feet off the ground, they make a little bit of a thud. Well, that thud is like a dinner bell to the chickens. and if you move the bucket around a little bit and you make a few of them fall, they will come running over to where their lunch is usually served. So anyways, I planted this tree just last year, and it was only about a foot, maybe a foot and a half tall. And what I did is I put a bunch of wire around it, because if you don't protect it when it's little, just like a human child or a puppy or little animals, if you don't protect them when they're little, they won't grow up, So I protected it with some wire cage around it, and then it became big enough and it grew its own bark, it grew its own protective layer. And yeah, what's going on, ladies, huh? What's going on? Come here. Come here. So anyway, the chicken coop has got a heavily mulched floor. And we insulate the walls with straw, and it's all just built out of pallets and galvanized metal. So it's not beautiful, but the chickens love it.